Welcome to Etihad Focus, your number one spot for the latest match updates, transfer news, and inside training coverage. If you love football, you're in the right place. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any breaking updates. Let's get started. Pep Guardiola gives telling response amid Manchester City transfer chants. He says, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola spoke about Oscar Bobb's injury and transfer situation with a move on the cards. Pep Guardiola gave an abrupt response to questions about Oscar Bobb as Manchester City came to Norway without him. The 22-year-old has not featured for the Blues since coming off inside 20 minutes in the League Cup win over Brentford in December. Guardiola has suggested since that the player's injury was not helped by him not being ready to play, and was in even less of a mood to discuss the winger as City arrived in the country where Bobb hails from. Asked about his injury, the manager said, "He says he's not fit, so he's not fit." Bobb has fallen down the pecking order at City after failing to impress this season. He missed the chance to shine when given a rare start in the Champions League game at home to Leverkusen. After being taken off at half-time in that game, he was excluded from a number of squads after that before being reinstated for the Brentford match. City have been willing to let Bobb leave this month, either on loan or for a permanent deal, and the signing of Antoine Semenyo provides further competition for him to make it at the Etihad. Guardiola said he had no idea if Bobb would leave in the January transfer window in a dismissive response. While Bobb is not playing through injury, Phil Foden could feature for City on Tuesday, despite breaking a bone in his hand during the Manchester derby. Guardiola said on Saturday that his half-time substitution had not been down to injury, but it turns out that the 25-year-old has suffered a fracture, but has strapped it up and is available for selection. City are looking to move closer to securing a top 8 finish in their game with Bodo/Glimt on Tuesday tea time. They currently sit in 4th place in the 36-team table and can put one foot in the last 16 ahead of their final match in this first phase at home to Galatasaray next week. Marc Guehi private jet aborts landing as he travels for Manchester City medical. Marc Guehi has travelled to the northwest to complete his £20 million move from Crystal Palace to Manchester City, but there was some slight drama as he made his way to his new home. Marc Guehi's private jet was forced to ditch its original landing after flying the defender to Manchester. The England star is on the verge of a move to Manchester City, with Palace having accepted a £20 million bid for his services. Guehi was left out of the Eagles' side that lost 2-1 to Sunderland on Saturday and is expected to undergo his medical on Sunday. But it wasn't all straightforward for him as he flew to Manchester to complete the formalities. Guehi flew from London on Sunday morning on a private jet, only for the flight to abandon its landing moments before it touched down in Manchester. Plane spotters suggested that a larger jet moved onto the runway, forcing the plane carrying Guehi to climb and loop around the city, including over the Etihad Stadium. The jet eventually came to a safe landing, with Guehi being whisked off to complete the final details of his move. He is expected to sign a 5.5-year deal with City, with Palace forced to sell due to his contract expiring in the summer. Guehi was previously on the verge of a move to Liverpool last year, only for the deal to collapse at the 11th hour. If all goes through as expected, he will become City's second major addition of the window, following the signing of Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. His exit comes amid a difficult time for Palace, with boss Oliver Glasner having confirmed he too will leave at the end of the season. The Austrian also tore into club chiefs for the decision to allow Guehi to leave. He said, "We feel like we're being abandoned completely, selling our captain one day before a game. There is no understanding for this. We are preparing, and then yesterday, Friday, I get told that our captain will be sold. But why not next week? At least he can play this game, and then next week other players are coming back. It makes me really upset. If your heart gets ripped out twice a year, with Eberechi ease one day before a game in the summer, and your captain one day before a game, I've just got no understanding. I heard yesterday at 10:30 a.m. for the first time that we were selling Marc," Glasner added. "I think the negotiations were a few days long, so nobody would have called at 10 a.m, and by 10:30 a.m, everything was agreed. Then we have to deal with it. One day before a game, we have to come to Sunderland, when we know we're not on the best run. We know the circumstances with no players available, and we're selling our captain. No team would do this. Other teams, the players play, and then the next day, they're leaving, and we are selling the day before. Pep Guardiola has already won over Manchester United. Transfer target's mum, Manchester City boss. Pep Guardiola was clear about his admiration of an English talent, who is also being eyed up by Manchester United. Pep Guardiola has already made his thoughts clear on Manchester United target Alex Scott by paying him the ultimate compliment. The Manchester City manager once described the central midfielder as an unbelievable player. That was after the then 19-year-old played for Bristol City against his side back in early 2023 in an FA Cup game. If that glowing endorsement from one of the greatest managers ever wasn't enough, Jack Grealish also labelled the teenager a top talent at the time. Scott, now 22, has gone from strength to strength since then, becoming a key player at Bournemouth under Andoni Iraola. His impressive displays since his £25 million move to the South Coast have unsurprisingly seen him linked with several top Premier League sides. City have been amongst them, as have neighbours United. Speaking about Guardiola's comments in 2024, the England U21 star revealed how his mother was left particularly delighted by the praise. To hear that from who I regard as one of the best managers of all time, it's a good feeling. "It was amazing," said Scott. "It was a great feeling, and my mum enjoyed it probably even more than me." He didn't have to say that, but to say it about an opposition player shows the respect he has and why he's gone so far in the game. Guardiola was incredible at Barcelona with that great team with Lionel Messi. I grew up with Guardiola as a manager, and that whole team was just incredible. Xavi and Andres Iniesta. Messi doing his magic. He had brilliant midfielders at Bayern Munich with Thiago, and now he's at Man City with Rodri, who, for me, is one of the best players in the Premier League. Yet, he could end up playing for Guardiola's cross-city rivals, United, who have made signing a midfielder their priority for 2026. The Old Trafford club appear to be biding their time, however, with recently sacked manager Ruben Amorim suggesting there will be no new arrivals of note in January prior to his dismissal. Having appointed Michael Carrick as interim boss until the end of the season, United are expected to instead splash out in the summer on more than one midfield signing. Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Joao Gomez and Carlos Baleba are all being linked with a move to Old Trafford. Scott must be doing something right if he is being considered amongst such company by United Chiefs, having received his first England senior call-up by Thomas Tuchel in November 2025. Should the Red Devils successfully fend off rival clubs and secure his signature, they may well have a future Three Lions star on their hands. The reasons Man City moved for Marc Guehi became clear versus Manchester United. Manchester City were well beaten in the Manchester derby, as goals from Brian Mbeumo and Patrick Dorgu gave the home side the win. It was a derby day to forget for Manchester City, but the prospect of Marc Guehi arriving to strengthen a squad in desperate need of defensive reinforcements does at least mean brighter times could lie ahead. City were well beaten by Manchester United at Old Trafford, and their performance offered nothing and deserved nothing. A victory in midweek at Newcastle United means City have one foot in the Carabao Cup final, and a similar outcome in Norway against Bodo/Glimt on Tuesday could secure a top 8 Champions League spot. Not that that will offer much comfort to Blues fans in the hours and days after Saturday lunchtime's defeat. But the capture of Guehi is